There, welcome to Concept Hunter. Today we're going to talk about REGEN, or REGEN, if that's what it's called. I'm not really sure why it's called in the context of the game, but that's the name. This is actually a pretty simple game, but there's so much to talk about because there's so many tiny things that it does. There's restrictions on the player, there's roguelike elements, and there's a lot of very specific randomization. So let's just get started and press X and see that there are also game modes. On top of the actual game, which we will be discussing, there's a ton of other game modes and more additional content. So this is a pretty robust game, I'd say. It was actually originally made in 24 hours, and then they spent 2 more months, 2 more months working on it, and creating pretty much more content. So let's just get started. And you could already see that I have a timer on the left side, which will start counting down once I enter one of the rooms, when I just start going. And once it reaches 0, I lose. It does, however, reset every room. So basically I have 10 seconds, right now it's 11 seconds, per room. I also have HP at the top right, which there are specific ways to replenish, but basically that's your HP, and if you get hit, it goes down, and if you die, you start over. And I have coins that actually carry over and allow me, usually at the beginning, to just upgrade. There are a couple of upgrades, but note that they cost a ton of gold, of coins, and that's actually one of my my first complaint, I'd say. Why do they cost so much? It actually requires you to play a bunch before you can get a little bit of sense of progression with these upgrading roguelike elements that upgrade between playthroughs of the actual game. So I wish it was a little bit more, spread out. The first upgrade could be like 10 or 15 coins and not 125. All right, because you don't really gain a ton of coins. Some rooms you might gain 2, some 1, but some even 0. And since you die a lot, I don't know, it seems like it's a ton until you actually get there. So you move around with the arrow keys. For some reason, the up arrow key doesn't jump, and you have a dedicated X button for it, which is really weird for me. I really enjoy playing with just one hand, and that's kind of annoying. Note the timer ticking down, and boom, it reaches 0, and I die. So I have to just keep on going and actually finish these rooms. I can't just stand around and not do anything. I do collect coins, and there are things that will kill me. Note that it's a little bit difficult to actually see what kills you and what not, and what you can interact with and what not. That's because they only used a palette of 4 colors for this game, and I am no artist, but I know that using a constricted palette is actually a good thing that brings out some kind of aesthetic and helps you define your game. But when you restrict yourself so much to a palette of 4 colors, then you have a little bit of an issue here. It's kind of hard to understand what you can actually interact with and what not, what actually kills you and what not. And what's usually done, there's a constricted amount of palettes that are decided. I think this heals me. Yeah, that heals me, but I didn't have any damage on me. You pick like 4 colors or so, and then you create a couple of more colors with combinations from the original colors. And that's usually how palettes work. Again, I'm no artist, but that's my knowledge of it. And I do have to say that sometimes it's a little annoying to understand what will kill you and what won't in this game. Other than that, it's nice that the only thing that really moves is usually stuff that either kill you or coins and stuff like that. There are a couple of, I don't know if it's a bug, but I just got stuck in something that appeared, which is kind of annoying. And the main complaint that I have is actually the random generation. This is not a procedural game. There are very strict rooms, and you get to see the same room again and again and again and again and again and again. And there's actually more rooms once you pass a certain amount of them. The goal, according to what I understand, and I can only understand, and there you go, that's another thing that I want to talk about. The goal, I only understood by reading the description. You're actually supposed to finish 100 rooms within one run. That's your goal. But I didn't know that until I read the description. It's not said anywhere here, which is kind of odd. What just happened to me a second ago, though, is I actually fell down, and I got hit as I fell down. As I entered the next room, there was pretty much nothing I can do, and I got hit. And that's actually quite a an issue with some of the rooms in this game, and that comes down to level design. When you go into a room, you really have to just stop immediately. Just go into the room and then size it up. Luckily, you have 10 seconds, and most rooms take less than that to actually complete. But I'm going to fall here, and that was actually fine. It usually happens in levels where you fall down in order to continue instead of moving left and right. And you could just fall down to, you know, spikes, and there's nothing you could do. That was very, very close. If it was a little bit more to the left, I would have just gotten hit, and I just fell into the room. I didn't actually take any action, and that's kind of lame to get hit by something like that. So you'll notice that you've already seen these a lot of times, and this is another example of me just, well, that's level design. I just got stuck there. I fell to the pits, and I don't instantly die, and it seems like you could also upgrade the height of your jump, but I was basically dead there, and I just have to wait and just be sad about getting hit again and again and again instead of immediately being able to restart. I also don't have a dedicated restart button, which would really, really help. Oh, well, if I screwed up, instead of waiting to get hit repeatedly, I could just press R and restart the game. That would be another nice little addition. So there's so many things going on here. I think I've talked about pretty much everything. I also have a little bit of an issue with the platforms that go away, such as this one, this platform. They are there's actually levels where you touch them from below, and then they start disappearing, and you really have just 1 second, and then you get screwed up. I don't know if I'll manage to find one of these levels in order to show you. So far, I've not actually gotten to one of those levels. I'm just going to try again, and maybe it'll happen. There you go. This is an example. If I jump too high, I'm going to touch it from below, and then it's gonna, yeah, there you go. I screwed up, and now I can't do anything. I'm gonna have to wait for the timer to just be over, because there's no restart button, and I can't jump that. And though I understand the want to have an upgrade for the jump height, which is nice, you're just screwing up such a huge amount of people, and there's not such a huge amount of playthroughs, and there's not much I could do about it. Whenever you get to a state where you feel like the game screwed up and not you, I mean, that's just how the game is, and there's nothing I can do, and I just have to wait. That's really breeds frustration, and you really want to try and avoid it, especially in such a roguelike game that's so rapid, creating a lot of this frustration. And if I screw up this level a couple of times, I'm just going to feel terrible. And there you go. I actually moved a little bit to the right here in order to avoid those spikes just by accident. But I would have just fallen down here and taken damage. And it's not my fault. I just fell through. So there's a little bit to do with level design. But other than that, it's a great base. And I'd say that if you refine it, if you add on top of it a little bit of content, this could be a wonderful game that people will be really happy to buy for $5 on Steam or something like that. It's a beginning of a really cool roguelike, I believe. It's called REGEN or REGEN. It's by Squine Mode, if I didn't butcher their name. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.